G'day everybody and welcome to Susies Selections, brought to you by Sinclair Wilson.
Are you getting everything you deserve? At Sinclair Wilson, we can answer all of your financial questions, optimise your tax position and develop long-term strategies which will be very much to your advantage. Sinclair Wilson, for strength in numbers.
We're up to round 14 in the AFL, round 11 in the Hampton League. A huge thank you to Peter who filled in for me while I was on holidays, but I'm back now. We'll dive straight into it this week, and to start things off, another Thursday night match with Sydney versus Port Adelaide at the SCG. The Swans are a little bit vulnerable at the moment, as much as they ever are, with Buddy Franklin and Kurt Tippett both missing through suspension. But they're still a really strong side. Port is struggling at the moment, so I'm sticking with the Swans in this one. But who knows, maybe Port will have turned things around during the bye. Only time will tell. Hopefully it's a good contest, but definitely the Swans for me. And then on Friday night we have a massive clash at the MCG between Collingwood and Hawthorn. These two clubs are up and about at the moment. I'm going to tip Hawthorn on this one just based on their form the last few weeks, and it's worth noting that Hawthorn has won the last 7 clashes between these two teams by an average margin of 7 goals. I think it's going to be much closer than that on Friday night though. And then on Saturday we have Richmond versus Greater Western Sydney at the MCG. Richmond is up and about at the moment, fresh off the win against Sydney in the Harbour City. It's going to be hard to stop them, and I don't think an injury depleted GWS is quite up to the task. Hopefully it's not as big a loss for them as last year's 113-point drubbing, but I think we're heading in a similar direction. And then we have Gold Coast versus North Melbourne at Metricon Stadium. There's not a lot going right for Gold Coast at the moment, but on the plus side they get Gazza back this week, which will hopefully revitalise them and give them a bit of a boost. I don't know that's going to be enough to get them over the line against North though, so I'm tipping the Roos quite comfortably. And then we have Western Bulldogs versus Carlton at Etihad Stadium on Saturday night. For once, I'm not going to let myself get caught up in the hype about a club, so I'm tipping Western Bulldogs for this one. It's great to see that Carlton are improved, but the Doggies are the better team for mine. And then we have Melbourne versus West Coast Eagles up in Darwin. So Melbourne will be on a high after beating Geelong in their most recent encounter. It was a great win for the D's. But the Eagles are up and flying and are a real contender this year, so I'm tipping them to win fairly comfortably. And then on Sunday we have Essendon versus St Kilda at Etihad Stadium. Things are going terribly for the poor Dons at the moment, so I'm tipping an improving St Kilda to get the 4 points here. And then we have Adelaide versus Geelong at Adelaide Oval. Geelong, you're breaking my heart at the moment. I'm going to have to tip against you again. Second time this year I've done it. In the paper I'll still say Cats because I always tip them there, but I can't in good conscience let other people follow that same path, guys. Tip Adelaide, they're probably going to win at Adelaide Oval. And then finally we have Fremantle versus Brisbane at Subiaco. Because it was a fighting performance by the Lions last week. Really good to see some spirit there. Don't think it's going to be enough though this week. They'll need to do much better to create an upset against Fremantle, so I'm tipping the Dockers in this one by a fair bit. Across to the Hampton League now, and to start things off we have Portland versus Hamilton Kangaroos at Hamlin Reserve. It's disappointing to see the league's 2 newest clubs hovering around the bottom of the ladder, but a valuable win on the weekend can see them start to bridge that gap with the pack that's just above them. I'm tipping the Tigers in this one at home to get the win. Should be a close one though, I think. And then it's Cobden versus Camperdown at Cobden Recreation Reserve. I reckon this is going to be another close contest. The questions that are going to be posed here are whether the Bombers can keep their good form going or whether Camperdown can snap its losing streak. I reckon winning form is good form though, so I'm tipping the Bombers in this one just to get the win by a little margin at home. And then we have South Warrnambool versus Warrnambool on Sunday at Friendly Societies Park. So Warrnambool is mortal after all, as Corritt proved last week, defeating the Blues, but I don't think the Blues are going to be too hung up about it, and unfortunately for poor South Warrnambool, I think they're going to cop a bit of a hiding this week as the Blues bounce back in a big way. And then we have Corritt versus Terang Mortlake at Victoria Park. Now the Saints will be flying after a very impressive win last week. They are the reigning premiers, and we've got to remember how good a side they are. So it's going to be a massive challenge for Terang Mortlake. I'm tipping the Saints in this one. Hopefully the Bloods can do a bit better than they have been lately. They haven't really produced their best football yet. Maybe they can turn it around this weekend. We'll see how they go. And then finally we have North Warrnambool Eagles versus Port Fairy at Bushfield Oval. Port Fairy's been very impressive the last 6 weeks, bar a bit of a hiccup against Cobden. But it's hard to go past the Eagles at home, so I'm tipping North Warrnambool Eagles in what is shaping up as a potential preview to the finals in a couple of months' time. That's it for Susie Selections for another week, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, happy tipping.